So we are going to solve this trigonometric equation. I'm going to first start by rewriting this as 1 over the sine of x plus the cosine of x over the sine of x. And then I'm going to combine the two since I do have a common denominator of sine of x as 1 plus the cosine of x equals 1. And now notice that we're taking this quantity and dividing it by the sine of x. As long as I do it to both sides, I'm going to multiply by the sine of x on top. And in doing so, the sine of x divided by the sine of x, these are going to simplify to 1. On the left-hand side, I have 1 plus the cosine of x equals 1 times the sine of x, which is just the sine of x. Okay, I'm going to choose to isolate the 1. So to do that, I need to move the cosine of x to the right-hand side. And then I have to remind myself, when we see a unit circle, and we know sine is like our y values and cosine is like our x values, let's talk about sine first, just because it goes first. Sine goes as high as 1 and it goes as low as -1. So a sine function has a range of 1 to -1. Values will go from +1 to -1. And likewise, cosine does the same thing. It goes as far as -1 and it goes as far as +1. So our range, and I put those in the wrong order, by the way. It should have been -1 first, +1 second. Sorry. It should have been -1 first, +1 second. All right. So next, when we just think about this, we need to come up with values along the unit circle that I'm allowed to subtract these two quantities, and I end up with 1. So what subtract another value gives us 1? Well, I know that 1 subtract 0, and those are values, they're common values on a unit circle. So I'm going to ask myself, where is the sine function equivalent to 1? Sine is equal to 1 right here at pi over 2. So I believe one value of x could be pi over 2. Now, where is cosine equal to 0? Cosine is equal to 0 both at pi over 2 and also at 3 pi over 2. Sorry, couldn't see there. Okay, now we need to check for extraneous solutions. So to check for extraneous solutions, I'm going to take the value of pi over 2. I'm going to come back to this particular equation, which is just translated here, right? It's just rewritten. And we want to make sure that this works. So what is the sine of pi over 2? And the value is 1. So I have 1 equals 1. What is the cosine of pi over 2? The cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So 1 subtract 0 is 1. 1 equals 1, that means pi over 2 is in fact a solution. Now let's try 3 pi over 2. What is the sine of 3 pi over 2? If that's a solution, we have to check it. The sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1. So 1 equals, this would give me a -1. Subtract, and what is the cosine of pi over 2? The cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So +1 equals -1. The left side doesn't equal the right side. That makes this an extraneous solution, and we only have one answer of pi over 2.